The Carolina Hurricanes are back home tonight to take on the Edmonton Oilers after an ugly loss last night against the Florida Panthers. Find out about last night's game and what the Hurricanes need to do to bounce back tonight against the Oilers in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you are listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Thursday afternoon. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. And like I said, last night's game was a rough one. Not a whole lot of positives to take away from that game, to be completely honest. Really, the only positives that I could come up with, really, was Jack Drury. He looked pretty good in his debut for the season. And Antti Ranta, he gave the best goaltending performance that the Hurricanes have seen all season long, and it was squandered by poor play. And that's been a trend this year, sadly. We've seen that happen already. We saw Andre's first career regular season hat trick get wasted in a loss to the Oilers. We've seen Stefan Nazen's efforts go unrewarded by the remainder of the team, Brent Burns as well. And yet again, just another stellar performance that'll just go forgotten, really, because the Hurricanes ended up losing the game, and it was just overshadowed by a lot of poor effort by everyone, honestly. And then, the one other positive I could come away with, it's not even for the Hurricanes. And that was Eric Stahl, former Hurricanes captain. That's how I'm tying it into the Hurricanes, playing in his 1300th career game and, getting the win. Yeah, he's on the opposite side, but, here at Locked On Hurricanes, we still love Eric. He meant a lot for the franchise while he was here. And, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, though, but we did get to hear from Jack Drury and Rod Brind'Amour, and they can really sum up this game better than I can. And first, we'll hear from Rod Brind'Amour.
You guys ready? Talking before the third period, you wanted to see some more puck possession in the offensive zone. What made it so difficult to capitalize tonight?
Well, I mean, our goalie made some good saves, and it's a tough game. I didn't like our first period. We got behind, and slowly kind of got back into it. I mean, we had plenty of opportunities, but it's just tough sledding there to score right now. Obviously, we scored one goal in 2 games, and it was off the back of a goalie, to get it in. So it magnifies everything when you're not scoring. And like I said, I didn't love the game overall. We had too many guys that just weren't a factor. But gotta get back to the drawing board.
Antti Ranta with some good saves tonight. What did you see from him?
Yeah, we're giving up too much, right? Like I think especially when you're not scoring. I think you start doing some things that you shouldn't be doing, and that opens it up the other way. So he was really good. Saved a bunch of odd man rushes that we were giving up. So that's an area of concern. But if we don't have 20 guys doing it the right way, it looks like that.
Before the Barkov goal, were you happy with the penalty kill? I think they were 0 for 3.
And then it's kind of a broken play, right? Like we kind of get down half, but then all of a sudden he shoots through, and that's kind of what happened. But other than that, we were doing a pretty good job, and it's one of those weird games because I thought our power play had a lot of really good opportunities, just didn't score. So it's the way the game goes sometimes.
Was this kind of a weird one to play? You get the threat of a hurricane, the storm, and all that.
Yeah, but I mean that's if anything, that should help us in a way. There's not many people here, and It certainly wasn't a home court advantage type thing, which that would have helped us. So we didn't play a very good game.
Jack Drury enters the lineup tonight. What did you see?
He was good. He was a bright spot for me. Kind of tried to bump him up a little bit because he was going. But really, we just had too many guys that we need to play well that didn't up front. So that's not going to work.
Another back-to-back opportunity tomorrow. I know it's not ideal, but the chance to rebound.
Well, you hope that's the what guys, when you have a game that's not great, the best thing is to get the opportunity to play again, regardless. I know it's going to be tough. You have a couple of dynamic players there to deal with, but that's the game. We got another opportunity tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, so in listening to Rod, echoing a lot of the stuff, I've already said, and, one thing that I had forgotten about was how good the penalty kill was looking in that game, and, it ended up just going to crap. A broken play, Barkov goes down, gets a goal, and, it's very frustrating because the Hurricanes are better than that, and like Rod said, guys that they need to play well, we're not playing well. And that's something we've kind of seen quite a bit of, as of late. The Hurricanes have been managing to squeak out wins, which is great, obviously. But, you look at this game, you look at the game against Toronto, and it just ain't there. Just something isn't clicking. And, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'd rather this be happening here in November than in March. I'd rather be dealing with this stuff now and get it taken care of now than when we're trying to push for the playoffs and lock in a playoff spot and all that. But, you look at this game against Florida, and, the Hurricanes are not having morning skate this morning. So we're not going to hear from Rod pregame tonight. And I honestly think that they're going to be doing a lot of film study on this game. He talks about the odd man rushes and whatnot that were giving up in the previous game, and I really think that they're going to be doing a lot of film watching, not only heading into this game, but just probably over the next couple weeks. They may be doing a little bit more of that than they normally would. But this is, again, it was very frustrating. Tuesday, Freddie Anderson, left practice early, and one little tidbit that we got during the broadcast last night was that he tweaked something. So it's still undisclosed. We don't know what it is. All we know is that Rod told Tripp that he tweaked something. That's all we know. And could that, could it be linked to his knee injury from last year? Maybe. I don't know. I know as much as you know, and maybe it wasn't, not necessarily that he wasn't fully healed or anything like that. He definitely was, but was there still maybe a lingering something there that was affecting his play, and now he re-aggravated it or aggravated it even worse, and now that's why he's out. Maybe I don't know, but Piotr was recalled, and Jack Drury was also recalled, and like I said, he made his debut for the season last night against Florida. Rod said, he was one of the bright spots for him. He was one of the bright spots for me because he was one of the few guys that showed up. Him and Nancy Ranta is about it. And, we did get to hear from Jack post-game, and this was what Jack had to say. I'm ready here.
Jack, your first time entering the lineup this season. What were your biggest takeaways from tonight?
Tough to lose. I think tough penalty in the third, but thought our line was solid in the first two periods, so look at that as a positive and try to be better going forward.
Antti Raanta with some key saves tonight. How crucial was he in the game?
Yeah, he was incredible. A lot of big saves. They had a lot of shots on net. We got to eliminate that a little bit, but he was awesome.
Have the chance to bounce back tomorrow night. I know back-to-back games are not ideal in home and away, but to have that opportunity to rebound, what does that mean?
I think it's ideal timing. I think everyone wants to play again tomorrow, get a win, so I think recover tonight and be ready come tomorrow.
Short memory kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah, so it obviously is very brief, getting to hear from Jack, but I really think that the Hurricanes, I would hope, would kind of have a bit of a chip on their shoulder going into this game, coming off of the poor performance from last night. And then you look at the last game against Edmonton. I mentioned it already. Andrei Svechnikov got his first career regular season hat trick in a game that the Hurricanes ended up losing because no one else showed up. Very much like last game. Antti Ranta, spectacular. But the Hurricanes lost because no one showed up. I really hope that they have a chip on their shoulder heading into this game. But we talked about Jack Drury getting recalled. We talked about Pyotr Kochetkov getting recalled. Also, a few other transactions that Hurricanes made over the past day or two. And we will talk about those as well as tonight's game right after this quick break, folks. Now, the Hurricanes are playing again tonight, this time at home against the Edmonton Oilers, wearing their anniversary jerseys, kind of harkening back to the 2006 Stanley Cup Final. So if you're wanting to place a bet on that game, make sure you go to betonline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all of your sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis, so you can get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football, basketball to soccer, esports, hockey, wrestling. They've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. Say you want to check out some more Hurricanes podcasts, BetOnline's got you covered. And they are always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. So head over to the website or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, before we get into tonight's game, we've already touched on a couple transactions. That was the Hurricanes recalling Jack Drury, kind of a just extra skater that they got right now. And he obviously made his debut last year. They also recalled Pyotr Kochetkov, because of Freddie Anderson being out, that we've already talked about. And, he backed up Antti Ranta last night. But they also moved Andre Kasha to injured reserves. He's missed 12 games due to concussion. He only played in the season opener. And it really sucks. I was looking forward to him being on the team. I know, he's not like the biggest name or anything like that. But, if you've been around the show for a long time, you remember when he was on the Ducks. I talked with JD from the Ducks, about, a potential trade, what, the Hurricanes and Ducks could do at that time. So, I was looking forward to him being here. And it sucks that we haven't really gotten to see him much at all other than the one night. But, concussions aren't anything to mess with. And you remember, not last season, but the season before, Tavo, same problem. He missed a crap ton of games, because of concussion issues. And, I I want him to take all the time he has to, to get better for that. And one that I'm not surprised it happened. I'm just surprised it took this long. And that was Ryan Suzuki getting activated and then sent to Chicago. Why it took so long, I do not know. Like, he wasn't going to play here on the Hurricanes roster. Why did they keep him here? And there was probably like some weird detail in contracts and guys getting sent from the NHL to AHL, and because he's hurt in training camp. Maybe he could have gotten sent to the AHL, and he had to wait till he was good to go. And I don't know. I'm just surprised it took this long. And we also have Calvin Fitzgerald as well, still technically on the Hurricanes roster. But just another thing, I'm surprised it took so long. Like, why had they not done that? But it's probably some injury rule thing in there that, only like two people know about. And or really, like the really high ups in the NHL and AHL know about. But those happened. And again, just getting into tonight's game now, and we're gonna get into the keys for the game right off the bat, and that is Yeah, the biggest one is just showing up. And whether the Hurricanes win or lose, at this point, I don't care if they win or lose. Obviously, I want them to win, but my big thing with this game, I just want them to show up and play and be competitive and not just look completely asleep and that they forgot a game was today. I don't want them to look like that. You know, it could be a 1-0 shutout for all I care, and the Hurricanes lose. I just want them to, again, just show up and play a competitive game because game against Toronto, aside for like the first 20, 30 minutes, no, it was Toronto's game. Last night against Florida, it was Florida's game. And I really would just want the Hurricanes to show up. And getting into the next key is something that Jordan Stahl mentioned earlier in the season that I've been talking about all season long, and there was no passengers in this game. I don't want guys to just be out there going through the motions and being non-factors. I get every game is going to have the standouts guys that are capturing the headlines and stuff like that, and then guys that are in the background. But you look at last game, you needed guys to show up, and no one did. The guys you needed to play well, Andrei Svechkov, Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, all these guys, they're not, and we cannot have that. And we need guys to show up, top to bottom, top guys, depth guys, forwards, defensemen, goalies. We need everyone to show up, and no passengers, and that's going to be really big. Historic, and speaking of showing up, Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechkov are historically good against the Oilers. We mentioned already with Svech getting his hat trick in the season's previous matchup against the Oilers. Hopefully, that magic kind of continues. He's been kept off the score sheet since Halloween, so hopefully we can get something going tonight. And then also, one thing I've talked about before is, the Hurricanes, how they tend to really outshoot opponents. But in a game like last night, the Hurricanes outshot the Panthers 40-36 and had no goals. Given, the Panthers got hot, they're behind, a hot goaltender, everyone's riding that momentum. So I do put that into account. But you had 40 shots on goal, you couldn't get one. Stuff like that. The Hurricanes, choose their shots a bit better, and not just, like I've said for years now, shoot to score, don't just shoot to shoot. That's going to be big for the Hurricanes. Aho, Nazen, and Natchez all had 6 shots in that previous game, and with the tear that Natchez has been on, to start out the season, the fact that he wasn't able to get one past Spencer Knight, that's crazy. Same with Sebastian Stefan Nazen. He's been really good this season as well, and he's has seemingly been picking up a bit of steam, excuse me, and it's very frustrating the fact that they weren't able to get anything going at all in the last game. Win or lose, they couldn't get anything going. And another thing for this game is going to be the power play. Talking about Stefan Nazen, he's been doing really well on the power play as of late, in my opinion. And I want to see him, continue that. I think he's going to be a big factor, in the Hurricanes power play in this game. I know maybe not the name that everyone thinks, it'd be like Sebastian Aho or Brent Burns or someone like that. No, it's Stefan Nazen, I think, is going to be really key to the Hurricanes power play efforts tonight against the Oilers. And I think that, they really need to support these guys, that they get momentum going, whether it be Nazen, Svech, Aho, DeHaan, or whoever. It wouldn't surprise me if DeHaan slots in tonight because Dylan Coghlan was not good last night. And, whoever it is, like, someone gets some momentum going, like, feed them and Like, let's get this going because, I'm really hoping that the Hurricanes are going into this game with a chip on their shoulder and are ready to go and have something to prove that, like, hey, this was just a little skid. Like, this ain't us. And, another thing I want to see tonight is, the defense tightening up. It's has not been great. It's had moments. Yeah, of course. I mean, you got Jacob Slavin out there. You're going to have moments. You got Brady Shea and Brett Pesci. You're going to have good defensive moments, but just as a whole, the defense as of late hasn't been great. And not just to call it the defensemen, forwards as well. They got to play defense too. And I really want to see those guys show up. These little lapses that we've been seeing and that have been costly, especially you look at in the game against Toronto, how they just really took advantage of stuff. Last night against Florida, that broken play that resulted in that Barkov goal, stuff like that. Tighten up on that stuff. I mean, I get mistakes are gonna happen, especially in an 82 game season. It's gonna happen. Mistakes are gonna be there, and they're gonna be ugly. But tighten up. I mean, come on. And I know that's easier said than done. For me, for you, for everyone that covers the Hurricanes. We're not out there playing. I get that, but tighten up defensively. Come on, guys, and better shot selection, and shoot to score, not shoot to shoot. But we got to talk about who's gonna be taking the ice tonight. I think we could be seeing some lineup changes tonight, and we will talk about that right after this quick break. All right, folks, now time to dive into lines for tonight. And last I checked, the Hurricanes had not announced any lines for tonight, but we are going to double check real quick just to see if something has been announced, if we got any sort of projected lineup. And we do not have any projected lineup as of recording. But with this lineup tonight, I think we could see a bit of changes. I do, and I don't think it'll be big changes. I think we're really gonna be seeing possibly something similar to last game. I think your top line maybe could change up a little bit. I think you could maybe see Svetch or Natchez slide in on top line, and then Teravainen or Jarvis move down. But Aho, he's still gonna center the top line. Kotkaniemi, he's gonna center the second line. But I could see a little bit of a change there. Maybe a guy or two getting swapped out. We've seen Svetch be on that top line and Teravainen move down. I think that would probably be the most likely. But that second line as a whole this season has been really good. Svetch, Kotkaniemi, and Natchez as a whole has been really good. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just decide to keep it intact and not change anything at all. That really wouldn't surprise me. I think third line is going to stay the same. It's going to be Martinook, Stahl, and Fost. I think going off of last night's game, I think that fourth line will likely stay the same. It'll be Nazin, Drury, and Stepan with Paul Stastny being the healthy scratch. I almost combined his name and Derek Stepan, but I definitely think that is going to be the way for tonight. It's going to be Jack Drury centering that bottom line. I think that's a pretty safe bet. He looked really good last night. I think he's going to be slotting back in tonight. I really do. On the defensive side of things, the top two pairs, they're going to be the same. It'll be Slavenberg and Shea Pesci. I think, it'll be Calvin Dawn tonight. I think so. I think Dylan Coughlin, he was not good last night. And I think, in turn, Calvin Dawn, he's slotting back on the lineup tonight. I do. I think that's a safe bet as well. Because Coughlin, he was not good. He was a liability out there. And Drury, he is noticeably better than Paul Stastny. And I think that those just seem to be easy decisions to make. I had to kind of think of the word that I want to use, but in my opinion, those seem to be easy decisions. Jack Drury, he was one of the few guys that showed up. like put him in tonight. And as far as the starting goalie tonight, I think this is the one where I'm a little torn-ish. And, because, Auntie Ranta, he was phenomenal last game. And if he has some momentum, keep him in. And it wouldn't be the first time, that we've seen, a goalie play both games in a back-to-back. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen it. And so in that regard, it wouldn't surprise me. And on the flip side, it is Auntie Ranta. You don't want to necessarily risk him getting injured because he is a bit injury prone. And I have been saying I do want them to take a little bit of a load off of Freddie Anderson, play Ranta a bit more, but I don't want them to play him too much. And then we're same place as last postseason, but opposite. We got Freddie and Piotr, and instead of Auntie and Piotr. But so in that regard, I could see Piotr getting the start tonight. And that was one, I wouldn't be mad about it. He was really good for the Hurricanes last year. And you had a little bit we got to see him. And I think that he very well could be a goalie for the future for the Hurricanes. And especially come next year, maybe making that jump up, to the NHL level. And you got to be playing some NHL games before you can make the jump up full time. So I think that's something we'll have to wait and see. That it's a flip of a coin for me, really, when it comes to goalies. The more buzz I've seen has been, Piotr getting the start tonight, but the Hurricanes, they didn't have morning skate this morning, so we're really kind of going in a bit blind, I guess you would say. Obviously, when it gets closer to game time, we'll know more. Projected lineup will come out, later this afternoon, and then we'll really kind of know who we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to say Piotr gets the start tonight. I feel it would be the safer bet, not risking, Auntie Ranta getting injured. And, typically, the goalies split the back-to-backs. But my big thing is, you're also going against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. If Auntie has some momentum on his side, and he's like, I want to freaking play, I say let him play. But that there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, and we'll just have to wait and see. I'm gonna say Piotr gets the start, and I'm gonna say Jack Drury slots in on that fourth line. Excuse me, not first line, fourth line, and Calvin DeHaan slots in on that third pairing. That's what I'm saying. But ultimately, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. One more check before we wrap things up tonight. Just to see if we got any official word. It's a little afternoon now, so maybe we do know something. Maybe we don't. Sometimes this has happened. And it's looking like still no official projected lineups for tonight. So those are my predictions. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're not. We'll just have to wait and see. But again, big thing. I just want guys to show the heck up tonight. And hopefully we see that. Hopefully the Canucks can go home with a win. They're wearing the anniversary jerseys, like I said at the top of the episode. I know folks are loving those. I know I am. I really want one too, but they are just freaking expensive. But in the meantime, make sure you are following the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow when we recap this game that we just talked about, the game against the Oilers. Hopefully, it's better than last night's game against the Panthers, but we'll just have to wait and see. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. And let's go, Canes.